Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Dalton. I appreciate that. And also, thank you, Tim, in North Carolina. What an amazing presentation. Certainly in Mississippi, we were affected by Katrina and can appreciate what you guys have been through, and that's quite an undertaking. So I wanted to thank Dr. Dalton for inviting us to discuss the Women in Medicine event in Mississippi, and for Dr. Hayes for asking me to lead the discussion today, and then for Karen Foy. If you'll pick up the handouts that Karen so graciously printed out, and just thanks to the leadership for allowing us this. AV, as I mentioned, is quite expensive, so if you'll follow along with me there. Some of the slides are harder to read, but we'll have a link at the end. So we've had a lot going on in Mississippi this past year, a lot of firsts. I'm grateful to lead the organization as I mentioned earlier, the first female chair, and so when we talk about emphasis on women in medicine, I think it's still important. It's still something that we need to push forward to, and we felt like in Mississippi, we really wanted to work on recognizing minorities and increasing the diversity of our association. And so over the past year, we have hired a new executive director. You'll see him right over here, and many of you recognize him, Dr. Claude Brunson. He is the first physician executive director we have hired, also first African-American executive director, and he is one of only 2 physician state association executive directors in the country. We think that brings a unique perspective, so yes. So he has certainly mentored many of us, and I joke all the time about hiring a mentor. Try that and see how it goes. It's a fun relationship, but we're able to get a lot of things done. And so he came on full-time in April, and the first thing he did was talk about the opportunity. When we looked around in Mississippi, women were making headway, and that women had never been celebrated. And so over about 2 months' time from when he took over until our annual session in August, this event was planned. So I wanted to make one other comment before we delve into it, that this is the good stuff, right here, what we're doing. I think that this is brilliant, that Dr. Dalton and the leadership have come up with, to sit here and talk about we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If something works in one state, then talk to us and let's replicate it. If we've got a success, I think this is awesome. This was easy. In the scheme of things, it was an easy thing to do, and our members loved it. We're very grateful to the women leadership in AMA, and we had Dr. Harris here this morning, and she was in attendance. We had Dr. Dalton, Dr. Imbo joined us, so we had a lot of people here at the event that got to come and see what we do there. And there's a lot of women that went ahead of us, but there's a lot of women in Mississippi that were leading and just had not been recognized for what they were doing. So we started this idea and it started gaining steam. You see the invitation there on the second slide. We did not mail out invitations. It went out by social media, it went in electronic format. It went out to all of our area partners, hospital systems, clinic systems, private doctors, insurance companies, banks, you name it. If there were people that partnered with physicians, or we thought they ought to partner with physicians, if they had skin in the game, then we asked them to support the event. You see on the third slide there some of our keynote sponsors. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi was important. Our relationship in recent years had somewhat suffered with them. And we brought Dr. Brunson to the helm, and he had a great relationship with leadership there. We started meeting. Next thing you know, they're a keynote sponsor, heavily funding our event. So we gave them good advertisement in our media capacity, social media at the event. We had a screen on the wall listing all these businesses. They could sponsor tables and at different levels, like most events that you've been to. But they were hungry to support their doctors. Nobody had asked them before to do that in our area. It was novel, and really they were looking for a way. And I'll back up and say our doctors were hungry for recognition. In a time of depression and physician burnout, increased suicide rates, and so on, we were looking for a way. At this one, like Dr. Dalton mentioned, we recognize women, but we see an opportunity to recognize physicians as a whole, physicians recognizing physician leaders and trailblazers. So on the next slide, you see, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. Mother Teresa. And I feel that way about a lot of things that we do. I mean, so many things that we do here. and this was one stone, and it made a whole lot of ripples. We really had no idea. So we'll go through a few of the leaders here. We've got 4, I think we recognized 10 or 12 that we've got the listing on our website. Dr. Helen Barnes was the first African-American board-certified OBGYN in the state of Mississippi. She's a legend back home. It was fantastic to see a room full of hundreds of doctors standing up and applauding her. Lou Ann Woodward, the first Vice Chancellor for Health Affairs and Dean of the School of Medicine. And I'm there, and Dr. Hayes mentioned me, and that's something I've struggled with too, and I think I'll take a second to say, spotlighting yourself is difficult. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that. It is difficult for me, but it's been explained to me too that there are other younger people that look up to us. And so it's okay, to talk about these things and to talk that if I can do it, you can do it. And so that's something that we do. We promote. In 153 years of men, the House elected a woman. And I appreciated that. It meant a lot to me. And then Shawn McKinney, who was our first Women in Medicine Committee Chair, and she was fantastic. Shawn was given a platform to lead. We saw a lot of potential in her, and she just took off. She did Facebook Live forums, she did door prizes and giveaways, and she just promoted, and people learned who she was and what she's a breast cancer surgeon, an amazing physician leader. She hand-designed the awards you see on the next slide, and they were handcrafted locally by a glass company in the state of Mississippi, and the silhouette of a woman on the side. These were very, very special to those of us who were very meaningful awards. Some pictures on the next few slides, and you can see you felt like you were really at the fanciest wedding reception you have ever been. There was pink everywhere, and I just can't tell you how fantastic. I mean, you walked into a wonderland. But let me tell you, we had professional hair and makeup on site, and that was the biggest hit for our worn-out surgeon mamas, and so to sit down and be a princess. And we all got together, and we had our wine and champagne before the event, and we got dolled up, and it went over like you would not believe. I mean, it was just amazing. And we felt glamorous, and it fed their souls. They loved it. And so then that night, you could see there our staff, along with our leadership team, everyone kind of got glamorized for the night. And we invited family to come with us, and it was a beautiful evening. We were so thrilled that we had AMA representation there just to see. And I think Dr. Harris, we were able to spotlight her, and she spoke, and it was just fantastic. The planning committee, what I loved about that was medical students, residents, fellows, young leaders who had potential and maybe had not been elected or lost an election, but you wanted to keep them plugged in. This was an easy way to plug them in and give them visibility, and also to have meaning in the association, and for us to be able to show the respect and to mentor them. So Dr. Harris, as you see there, it coincided with her visit to annual session. And she went on the local radio station, and she talked about all of the AMA initiatives, but she also talked about our women in medicine, and from the AMA to our state level. So she was a wonderful ambassador there in Mississippi for what we were trying to do. One of the things that I would strongly advise you, if you're not on social media, a lot of you here know that that's something that I'm passionate about, is getting out there and standing up for not only your state society, but for what AMA does. We do that a lot. In between meetings, we're able to stand up and say, yes, AMA is doing something for you, and this is what it is. And MSMA were the same way. And so we advertised this event very heavily on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We were all the places. And then we have a large cohort of physician leaders who would retweet and repost. And we also have a forum back home of physicians that I moderate in my free time that's got over 1,200 physicians, some in our association and some not. It's a wonderful, I call it a trolling ground almost, where we kind of go through and say, look what we're doing, and you need to be a member, you need to join us. But we do a lot on social media, and we do a lot of hashtags, and that kind of transitioned to our scope of practice front. You may know Dr. Brunson. He spoke last year on our AMA scope of practice grants and what we're doing in Mississippi. We're gaining steam there, and we built on that with the Women in Medicine, so our social media presence is huge. If you're not following us, please do. We'd love to partner. And then finally, just some follow-ups about what we learned from celebrating our doctors. There was tremendous, what they call unearned media in marketing circles. A lot of you know what that is, which means we didn't pay a dime for the publicity, but it went wild. And our area partners were talking about it, and they were putting it on their websites and on their hospital intranets and retweeting, and really physicians were very much celebrated. We sold out twice. We wish we'd have had a bigger venue. I think we would have just kept going. We had to tell people no. We had 375 people in attendance at $100 a ticket. We connected our founding women trailblazer leaders and our modern day healthcare female heroes. We had our national female physician leaders present with us. We engaged our members, recruited so many new members. They were excited to say that MSMA was modern and that we were diversifying, that we cared about them. I can't prove it, but I think we had more African Americans and more females there than we probably have at any other event. It was fantastic. I like the line there that brought high society back to medicine in Mississippi. That was funny when I saw that, but yeah, I mean, it was a glamorous, fun event. And when you're looking for means for non-use revenue, and we all know in a time where people may not see some of the relevance that we all see in organized medicine, and we're always looking for ways to continue to get them to be members, but then also find other ways. This was very lucrative, and we did not expect it. Maybe Dr. Brunson did since he brainstormed it, but our board did not. We were so thrilled that over 2 months that we did this, and we kept thinking if we had 12. So we're going for it, we're gonna do it again, and if we can help you do this, I promise you, I think we hit a dent in burnout with this. There was a lot of gratitude that went around. So happy to answer any questions afterwards. Thanks so much for giving us this forum. We really appreciate it.